Oh, good to have you there this day. Welcome to The Economy Today. It's a program where we bring you news, reviews, previews, and interviews on matters concerning the economy as it affects every one of us in the country. I'm Okechukwu Onubogu. I encourage you to make out time to spend this moment with us, this apt investment of your time, because I know that something beautiful will come out of it. Welcome again. This day I have a guest with me here, but then I also have an interview that was conducted earlier in the week, and we want to hear an energy expert who will speak to us concerning the things that are happening. Of course, I already have answered him the questions, and all things being equal, you just listen to him and watch him explain the things that have to do with these questions that I asked. I want to let you know straight away that the first is, how does the fuel scarcity affect business nationwide? You know, the fuel scarcity is really affecting the business, and we want to talk about it. And by the way, we're talking about energy and the economy today. So all of those will be what we'll get to hear as we discuss on the program. And we'll also find out from him, concerning the fuel marketers and the middlemen. They've been accused of diversion and leading to incessant scarcity. We'll know whether he agrees with that or not. And also, as an expert in the field, we also want to discuss with him to find out why he would think that the country cannot boast of one single refinery. You know, it's a problem. It's been a problem in this country for a while. We want to find out from the experts because they know better than we do. So they will tell us more concerning all that. We'll also get to find solutions from him, the ones he will proffer today. Then we'll work with that, even here and everywhere, to see if our nation will be made better. One more time, welcome again. John Gia is his name, an energy expert. As I said, I have another guest here. When we come back from that one, we'll talk about this guest here in the studio. Let's listen to him.
Yeah, how does fuel scarcity affect business nationwide? Huge. This is a recurring decimal that has a widespread implications for businesses across the nation. And the shortages are clearly a challenge with a huge impact on businesses. If you look at transportation and logistics, increases in fuel prices as a result of scarcities have led to higher prices of petrol and diesel. So this directly impacts transportation costs. It directly impacts those businesses that rely on movement here and there. So you find delays and disruptions in supply of goods, and the delay in supply of goods and services, of course, leads to increase in cost of those goods and services. You cannot divorce the current economic challenges to availability of fuel that is required to power the economy. Of course, this again leads us to the fact that you have reduced mobility. Somebody who was using about 2-3 vehicles to make supplies, to provide services and so on, he will have to reduce. And of course, it's not just thinking, it's the fact that several people have reduced movement because of scarcity of fuel. You bought fuel at a filling station at a particular price, you came back again, maybe in the next 2-3 hours, you find out that the pump price has gone up. So it has huge impacts. And for manufacturing and production, operational costs have increased. So you find a hotel, you find a medical center, you find, let me just leave that. Let's look at a simple Gary producer in the village who is using fuel to run the machines that they need to grind cassava. Scarcity has made it difficult for them to even have enough. So you definitely have the prices affecting availability just because of scarcity. Small and medium scale industries, you can't, they depend on availability of products. As to why, what I think, or why we, the country cannot boast of one single effective refinery. Why do I think so? A couple of reasons for me. The first one I will look at is economic challenges. The first thing here is lack of investment. So you have funding issues, and we have lack of investment, persistent lack of investment in maintaining and upgrading existing refineries. So it's not a priority of government most of the times. So again, you have private sector reluctance in investing. Why? Because they are often deterred by the uncertainties and the risks around this country in the oil and gas sector. And then the policy instability. You invest your money today, tomorrow you have a different policy issues. So how would you want to put your money into investing in refineries? Then you have the subsidy regimes. Of course, it's clear to all of us that Dangote the other day was complaining. Dangote has a huge refinery. It's built already, but he was complaining. So it is clear that the subsidy regimes, people don't even believe that subsidy has been reduced anyway. And then you have market distortions. Market distortions everywhere. Political challenges have to do with corruption, mismanagement, the opaque contracts. You have contracts that are only clear to those who are directly involved. They are not visible to anybody. So you have implementation issues around them. Nobody trusts the system. Policy instability, I mentioned that a little bit. Inconsistent policy, regulatory bottlenecks are part of why we are having these challenges. Then you have operational challenges, you have aging infrastructure, outdated technology, maintenance neglect, inadequate technical expertise. This kind of situation cannot sustain any form of refineries as far as this is concerned. You have skill gap, you have training deficiencies. What kind of what solution will I prefer on how we can solve the problem of fuel scarcity, especially PMS, so that it can be abundant the year round? 7 areas, I would think. The first area is increasing local refining capacity. Policy and regulatory reforms. Improving importation and distribution network. Number 4, combating corruption and inefficiencies. Number 5 will be alternative energy sources. We need that. Then we need to have public awareness. We need to have an engagement at the public level. And number 7, I think we need to have a roadmap that we need to implement. Let me quickly address this one after the other. So when I'm talking about increasing local refining capacity, I have already mentioned the fact that Dangote is out there big with enough capacity to provide for us in Nigeria and export. So we are already on the way to it, but I'm going to say something. We need to encourage private investment like the Dangotes. I'm aware that several private refining licenses have been issued, and I know that of all of about 23, about some mention 43, but of all this, as at 2019, by Energy Mix report of 2019, it was only about 10 that were said to be active. And of this active, they are either at license to establish, authority to construct, or license to operate. And this is serious. So you have other license that have been given. There are several of them elsewhere. There's no time. I don't have time to mention them one after the other. But you have the Watersmiths with a 5,000 capacity. And what do you have? Policy and support for local refining is not there. It's just not there. So in terms of policy reform, deregulate the downstream. We are saying we have done it, but not necessarily. Number 3, I made mention about improving importation and distribution network. Fuel marketers and middlemen being accused of diversion leading to incessant scarcity. Do I agree? Oh, sure. I agree perfectly. So we have this as a phenomenon that is often cited as a significant factor that is contributing to the reoccurring fuel scarcity in Nigeria. There are some reasons and examples that support this view, and the reason why I also agree perfectly. These reasons are: number 1, profit motive. So what is driving the diversion is because of profit making. You want to make more money, so you have marketers and middlemen diverting fuel to other locations where they can sell at higher prices, where they can make more money, and this is usually around neighboring countries, and sometimes even in country where you have places where there's usually prices that are higher. So you have a particular section of the country. In some states, you go, you discover that fuel prices are always much higher than where you find in locations like Lagos, like Abuja, Port Harcourt. So middlemen will prefer to pick the supply that is meant for that location, where you have normal prices like the places I mentioned, to states where prices are perpetually high. It is part of diversion. But then you have the second motive being hoarding. So you just keep it in the tanks on the ground and make sure that it's not available. So once in a while you open, sell a little bit at the prices you have chosen, collude. And the simple reason why this is happening is because of, to me, weak regulatory oversight as a result of corruption. Regulators looking the other way while fuel passes to other states like Niger, like Cameroon, and so on and so forth.
Thank you so much, John Gia, the energy expert for your contribution. I'm happy over the fact that that you agree with us that there is a diversion, because, as you said, there is profiteering. They make use of that for themselves. Well, I pray that things will get better for us in this country, because not just only these things happening, but they are affecting so many things. Every aspect, every strata, as far as Nigeria is concerned, is affected. I hope that something will happen so that these things will be put in perfect order. One more time, John Gia, thank you. One of these days, bring you into the studio so you talk with us in here. For sharing the moments with us, we are grateful. And right now, the one I have here seated with me is a business and media consultant. He's been here before, and he's here again. Of course, when he was here, I promised that he will return. And so he's here again today. Looking at what we're talking about, energy and the economy, the adverse effect of business, or businesses rather. We want to find out from him how it affects what they do today. I am talking about someone that is known as Yunusa, but then here he is going to answer his other name, Enemali Gabriel.
All right.
Gabriel, it's good to have you in the studio again live.
Thank you very much, and good morning, viewers.
Enemali,
Yeah.
You know a whole lot about. It's true that you're a media person, but then you are deeply involved in business and local business, so you understand the terrain
Absolutely
quite effectively. And I want to say, I think you are the right person to answer the remaining questions, because when Gia answered, there are things he said and left them like that. But I want to say that why do you think the country cannot boast of one single refinery? Why do you think such a thing cannot happen in this country?
The question is, again, why was it that during military government,
yes,
we have 4 refineries working? Meanwhile, when I was young and growing up, then late barrister son Gani Fawami, he will tell me, or he will tell us that the worst civilian government is better than the best military government. I get confused.
Yes.
And gradually, anytime they're having this protest, he kept saying that the best is civilian government. Best. I said, okay. And we found ourselves in civilian government. And
we've been there for 20
I'm telling you,
years now.
No one can we build. The old ones that were there, they're destroyed. When this government came on board, they said by December last year, Port Harcourt will start working. I was in Port Harcourt, I was in Eleme. Up to now, stories. Dangote came up with his own. They told us by March it will start working or supplying fuel. Up till now, same story. The last story we heard was that it was on fire. What exactly is wrong with us? The reason why this cannot work is because of the lack of law and order. If you are in an office and you misbehave, they deal with you. And because that is not happening, that is why Nigeria is now like it's a free fall. Everything goes. I do. Look, let me tell you, the people that are ready to steal are more outside than those in government, because they have noticed that all the past ones, nothing has been done to them, and they are ready to come and do it. So you cannot expect such a refinery. We have had NNPC telling us stories and stories and stories. Nothing work. So it can't work because law and order is not put into effect. So after law and order, then you have the corruption. Of course, corruption is the mother of all of them. And until we have a man with that capacity who is willing to lay down his life for Nigeria, we get nowhere. It can't work, sir.
And talking about Dangote, the refinery, and all that, which we hear will happen in August, it has moved again from July to August, June to July, July to August.
No, March, June,
yeah, March,
and now
June,
August.
July, August, yes. And I hope it will still work. But you see, the IOCs are causing much more problem. Just why I'm mentioning it is that you talked about discipline. Does it mean that people in government cannot discipline these IOCs?
The question is that what is IOC? I am a Nigerian. My primary concern is first
Nigeria.
The people, Nigerians. IOC has to do with the international market. I'm talking about, it's like you have your own food in the house. Instead of you to give it to your children, you are more concerned on giving it out to other person's children when your own children are hungry. Does that make sense?
It does not.
What are we talking about? What is our own problem with IOC? It's just like the case of dollar we are shouting. First of all, feed your people. I cannot believe that in Nigeria we have water, we have wind, we have sun, we have coal, yet we cannot boast of 24-hour light. Yes, sir. Train is not working. During military it was working. Civilian came, they killed it. All sectors are not working. In fact, all this insecurity during military, this does not happen. How come it is now another thing?
The other thing that is worrying me concerning this is that let's assume, no, let's not assume. Let's see it the way it is. In Nigeria today, the major source of power supply, let's go towards that side because of what I think you mentioned. Because if there is no power supply, it affects the production companies. It affects even the marketers. It affects those ones who will need to refrigerate what they are selling so as to keep it alive, so as to sell to the people. Now, in this country, the only approved or official means of generating power is from, what do you call it, the dams and all that. But we can, okay, like in the past, in the southeast, coal was used to generate power, though I know that they said it's not good for the health, so they were trying to change things and make it better. But apart from coal that we tried, that they ventured into then, that is the foreigners, the what do you call them now? The ones that colonized us used. There is the water one that is through the dams and all that. But Nigeria is a blessed country in every aspect. That if we talk about, you mentioned wind earlier, if you talk about wind, we can use the wind to generate electricity for this country. We can use, apart from the wind, we can use the sun that God has naturally given to us to generate power for this country. That's talking about the solar energy. I wonder why all these things are there, yet we are complaining, we are shouting that we cannot have up to 6,000 kilowatts coming from, or whatever watts, coming from that other source. Why not venture into these others, diversify even in that source, so that we can have it from every corner?
Now, let me tell you the adverse effect on business people from the local even to the city. The economic of production is affecting everybody. For instance, I'm into the business of agricultural farm produce.
Yes.
We have only one source of energy, petrol. All right, that's what is commonly used by everybody. Right here, we were told that we'll be using CNG. Are you seeing it?
Oh.
Number two, we were told that electric vehicle will start coming. Is it there?
No.
Now, sir, from the farm that you move your farm produce from your farm to your house or to the warehouse is money.
Yes.
From your house to the market is money. Now the person who comes to buy from the market to his own warehouse is money. Now from his warehouse to the last bus stop is money, and all of this he needs to add up.
as part of what you find out in the price of the
product. Thank you very much. The final consumer is going to pay. Let me give you an example. I am loading a cashew from Anyigba, which is the base, not from the farm gate now, because we were paid heavily from the farm gate to the warehouse.
Okay.
Now, a 30-ton of cashew from Anyigba to Ojota, I'm not talking about seaport, no. I'm talking of Ojota, is 1,520,000 on transportation, 30 ton of cashew. Now, two, you also have the problem of touts, the multiple taxation on the road.
Yes.
You spend another 120,000 naira on taxation.
You just said touts. Some are not even touts. Some are officials of the government.
Then you also have the escort. You pay another 100,000 naira. Now, in fact, you keep paying and paying. At the end of the day, what you'll be paying just to move 30-ton cashew from Anyigba to Lagos, you'll be paying close to 2 million naira, if not more than that. Sir, how can we make progress in that kind of a thing? Where are the so-called economists? Where are the tax experts? Can't we, in fact, in any case, tell me all the tax that they are collecting? What are they doing? Are you seeing any positivity from tax?
We're yet to see those ones.
Nothing. So it is definitely going to be difficult for us to make progress if we continue in this manner. And that is the reason I keep saying it, until we have one person who is dedicated to Nigeria, who wants Nigeria to work and is ready to lay down his life. But the beautiful thing is this: Nigerians are law-abiding citizens. The moment you make 1, 2, 3 people scapegoat, everybody will sit up. We don't like trouble. Recently, I was in Ghana, and they were saying, Nigerians, we don't like to get into trouble. I say we are not troublemaker. We obey law. But what Nigerians do is that if they come to a place, they first of all observe the place. They see how people conduct themselves. If you conduct yourself well, we conduct ourselves well. If you don't, they first watch you. If you, maybe for instance, you break rule number 1, you break the second one, you break the third one, Nigeria will be watching you. The day you break all.
All of them at the same time.
That's Nigeria for you. Break all.
Make it more difficult for you.
Make it more difficult because he does not like all this corner. If you want to do. If you don't want to do,
don't do it.
So if they want to obey law and order, they will obey law and order. If they don't want to obey law, they will not obey law and order.
Okay.
So and that is why we need a president that is dogged, is determined, has vision, and he knows what he wants for the future of tomorrow, not the kind of governance that we have right now. The beautiful thing you see, even them are afraid to go out.
Yes.
They are afraid to go out because, for instance, you have 1 million naira and you are having maybe 4 or 5 SUV that you are taking out. How much you going? Maybe 100,000 naira, you feel it. To where you're going and to where you're coming just on fuel. Now, as soon as you come, everybody wants to get one thing or the other from you. Then they are also scared of coming out. So you can see that there's this adage in my language. There's a heaven way fall, no they kill any one person, now all of us go kill. So they are also suffering it.
They are also suffering it. And you see, the adverse effect, that's the thing. You know, the energy and the economy, the adverse effect on the businesses. You see, you've just mentioned one side. Look at this other side now, that the one that has the business of maybe the photographer or the videographer, the one that goes for shows, programs, weddings, and so on and so forth. Before now, such people will not have the problem of this economic whatever,
of course,
because they'll just take themselves to the place, finish and come back. But you find out these days that when one of them goes for production, it will cost them so much
logistics
to put things in order for them to get there and do the work.
How many reporters can go out now, sir?
Yes, these days.
How many reporters how many people, how many stations can take care of their reporters to go out and bring in news? How many? Because
all the money you would have spent will go only on fuel alone.
Come on.
To get fuel in the country.
So, and that is why, advertising agencies as we speak right now are no more in Nigeria. They've all moved out to Ghana, South Africa, and so on. Why should that? And that is why television station finds it difficult to get advert. Yes. finds it difficult to get adverts. Recently, Unilever is moving out of Nigeria.
Yes.
And so, what are we talking about?
These are commodity producers.
Absolutely.
Commodity producers.
It is
and the things they are producing are the things that will help the people.
Thank you very much. So, it is extremely difficult to do business in Nigeria because of just power issue. Just power. So, can we begin to diversify? I have been hearing of diversification since I was young. Why are we not diversifying? Why?
That grammar needs everyone. By the time you grow up, you hear it. And you will still be listening, but you will never see it.
We are talking about coal. Are you aware that China and US uses coal?
They're using coal now.
Why should they say we should stop our own?
They have modified the coal they are using. So why can't our own scientists, if you like, go and find out how they modified their own, and let's modify the coal we have and use it also in this land?
We have a government that is always afraid of the unknown. Because you are there and you know this man knows how to do it, you'll be scared. If I allow him, he will outshine me, so I must not allow him. Yes, this is what is happening.
That's it. And another one is sectionalism or nepotism.
Nepotism, sectionalism, yes. Religion is not my person. Yes. He is not this. I am this. No, so therefore he cannot do it. Come on, and we're not going to make progress, sir.
Because I know a professor who was even given a letter by the World Health Organization for something, but because he's not from the area and the faith of the person that was supposed to sign for him to leave this country and go and face it, he never got it. He never got it until that tenure expired.
You know, my problem is that we behave like do I call it the devil, or we are even the devil? You don't know it. You don't want to know it. Now somebody knows it. You don't want him to come and walk. So you are standing on the door, at the door. You don't want him to come in, and you are not going in. What kind of leadership is this? And so that is why our politicians, all they are interested in, they are already talking about 2027. Meanwhile, we are not even done with the first one. Can you see the madness in us in this country? And that is why making progress becomes a difficult problem for us.
Again,
yes.
Why it is difficult for even the manufacturers to carry their product from one point to the other, apart from the fact that is the road, the fuel price is high and all that. You also find out that it's because it's only one route through which you can do
Absolutely.
it. If there are other routes, if there are alternative routes, talking about the rail lines that we've been hearing of, today someone will ask you, how secure is that rail line?
Let me tell you this. I only enjoyed rail line 1975-76 from Unguru, then Borno State, to Kaduna. That's all. And since then, it just, collapsing, and is dead. They came up with their razzmatazz. Abuja, Kaduna is now good. Travel now. Travel. So, sir, let me tell you the cost of production. We just talk on transportation. We have not talked about cost of production at the factory yet. Now, see what the farmer is facing. The farmer has about 10-20 hectares of land. He can't do it alone. He needs labor. This labor will have to transport themselves there. So he's going to pay for the transport, pay the laborer, and then feed the laborer if they must work. Now, at the end of the day, when they finish, he has to transport them back again. Now, he needs to do 3 or 4 times before harvest. Who is going to pay all of this? This is a country that they don't give incentive.
This morning, this transport thing you said, just reminded me. This morning, I'm talking about yesterday, as I was coming out and I had to come through the public transport.
Yes.
The route through which I had always been going, that would be 200 or 300 naira at most. This morning, people told me that it has to be 500 naira.
Yes.
The place that used to be 200 naira, people now said it has to be 500 naira because they were coming out from the filling station. They felt, I've spent so much money in buying this fuel, so why shouldn't I give them so much so that they will pay for me to cover? You can't even cover up. You can't even recover.
Sir, let me shock you. The weekend, I went to Kogi State, to Omala, where there is crisis, to distribute relief material. I boarded a vehicle from Zuba to Lokoja to wait for the truck that is coming. Right before me, they changed the pump price to 675 naira.
Right before you?
Right before my eyes. I was like, because virtually every station was closed. I did not understand what exactly is happening. I said, why are you changing it? Is that mine not in Nigeria? I kept quiet. By the time the driver now came and said there was no any filling station that is selling in Lokoja, so he had to fill his tank. Upon getting to Lokoja, we got to Omala. The third day when I was coming back, sir, guess what? I bought it in Ayingba for 740 naira. We bought it.
So that moved from 600.
Yes, sir. The driver now said he's going to buy small, so that once he get to Lokoja, he thinking that the price is going to see. We were all shocked when we got to Lokoja. He bought it for 850 naira.
So if he had known, he would
have filled his tank. Now, can you see the disparity? My friend who was at the back, I told him that I boarded the truck transport from Anyigba that used to be 500, highest 1.5, to Abuja 8,000. I now told him this is what is happening. The following day he boarded for 9,000. Sir, is that a good omen?
It's not. It's not a good omen.
How can we make progress like that?
It's not a good omen.
Everybody gets up and do whatever he wants to do. Nobody regulates anybody. Yet we have all manners of agencies that regulate one thing or the other.
You know, when we were told that there will be the removal of subsidy, it was the point that was being peddled all around then was that by the time it is done, for a few months it may be difficult, but after that it will even out. Just that because the marketers will now determine the cost, and we agreed, and we were told that that when it happens, it will, because of competition, the price will begin to come down. But you see, I have seen that now, even because of that competition, in spite of the competition, because of the competition, the price is even rising. Because now the competition is that I have it, you don't have it.
Yes.
So because I have it and you don't have it, I will add a whole lot of money and nobody has a right to stop me.
What I expected the president to do from day one was that, of course, in Niger Delta, you see all manners of refiners. They call them illegal refiners, as they call them, right? And then they kept blowing their tanks. What I expected him to do was to call all of them, hey, gentlemen, come. Because to refine the crude, is not yam thing. You must be an expert, an engineer.
And since
I expected him, gentlemen, come. I want this fuel to crash. Since you are doing it, doing diesel, doing petrol and all of that, everybody come, let's sit down. CAC, come. NNPC, come. DPR, come. All relevant agencies sit on the table. From today, these people are no longer illegal refiners. Rather, they are legal. CAC, register them. Hey, pay tax. Go and refine.
And bring it out. Let it bring down the price.
And see if this thing will not crash by itself.
That's a wonderful idea.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Why are we not thinking like human beings? Call all of them. Now, look at what we would have done. One, you would have crashed the prices because everybody will want to produce so that he can sell.
Yes.
Two, the environmental destruction that we're doing, that would have ceased. Military will not be chasing anybody to kill anybody anymore.
Because sometimes, as a result of the fact that they are hiding from the military,
they keep chasing them.
Mistakes and it will cause problems.
Number three, they would have also created jobs for Nigerians. Do you understand? Why are we not thinking like human beings, for God's sake? They would have also created jobs for Nigerians. Now you would have created marketers that will go out and tell them that, look, somebody is selling at 500, me I'm selling at 300 naira. You will prefer to go for the 300 naira. Yes. And gradually this thing will crash while we are battling to fix our own refineries.
That's what
but
they
this
told us.
is not done.
That's what they told us will happen, but we're not seeing it happen. You know, because I remember with the telecom services, when it was only MTN.
Of course, no, it started with Airtel.
And
Airtel.
The one that came first.
Yes, Airtel came.
Then afterwards we were told that MTN was coming to make a difference. They came, made a difference.
Glo came to and made a difference.
Glo came and hit it hard.
Good.
And afterwards the other one came, and that's the one that later became Nine Mobile.
Absolutely.
and all that.
Though they killed the government owned, but then
yes, continue with those ones. Incidentally, it has helped to bring it down. Though I know that's another aspect that we'll talk about, because the way the thing is happening now, what it costs to get your data these days in Nigeria is so much more than what it can cost you to get your data any other place in Africa.
Yeah,
and it's because I don't know why it has to be so in our own country.
Well, that's not even the issue. What about the efficiency of even what you are using? The service. You hear you are talking, hello, hello, is counting, you can't hear the person, and yet they will be deducting money, and nothing is happening. Now you buy data. Before now, I used to buy data 10,000, 20,000 naira. Now you buy data of 10,000, it's actually 5,000 you bought. I am more on the online. The moment I upload and download is finished, and I'll ask myself, what have I done now? Do you understand? So our regulators are not working, sir. That is the truth. If they are working, you will see they are working. When they started newly, you saw everybody wants to make sure that my own is the best. But after a while, they notice that even if nobody is checking, no checks and balances, and so anything goes, and that's what we are seeing today. Well, we are going through. You can't dare see it happen anywhere now.
And I talked with someone about this. Why can't we do something? Someone said, even if it's going to the National Assembly, and another said, you're not going to the National Assembly because they send data and all this to them free of charge.
Of course.
So why should they bother? Whatever you're getting is your business. But I know that there is still the Consumers Council. I believe that one day that one will be handled. Then the Price Control Board used to be there years back, but we can't find anything like that anymore. We can't find anything like that anymore. Let's not talk about the things that, importing things that will cause problem for us, because there's not much time for us to face that one today. But then we need to know that we need to get to have our products well and let them get serving us well. Some even are thinking of exporting their products when the people in the country have not even had enough to eat. Is it not when you have enough to eat that you now export the rest?
You know, I gave an analysis the other time. I said, a man had plenty children to feed. You choose not to feed your own. Rather, you want to take the food outside. Does that make sense at all? It doesn't make sense. So the truth of the matter is that, first of all, there's a lot of problem on our hand. This government promised us renewed hope. But when I heard renewed hope, I was confused, because I know I have a driver's license, which is valid. It is when it's about to expire that I will go and renew it. Okay? And then I asked myself, where is the hope that they want to renew for us? Now we have seen the hope. Yes, we have seen the hope of hardship. Go to the street and see how people are suffering. Go to the villages and see how people are suffering. They cannot afford food. Just 2 square meal. I'm not saying 3 now. 2. They can't afford it. It's so expensive. Everything is expensive. Health is expensive. And that is why if I for one, I would say, look, let us first feed ourselves. And the only way to do that is agriculture. God has blessed us with massive land that we can go to the farm. And if we do that, look at the effect of that. We will take care of poverty. We will take care of hunger. If you eat well, that alone is medicine. You will be in a good health. And these are the things that SDG 1 to 17 has spelled out. But we have chosen. Have you ever asked yourself, why are we not achieving sustainable development goal? They call it Agenda 2030. Today we're in 2024. 6 years from now, it's going to be 2030. Nigeria's own fire brigade. Why?
It will still be the way, it will still boil down to what we had. You know, there was Vision 2010 some time ago. Later there was Vision 2020.
Very correct.
And now, talking about 2030, they will all come and pass, and Nigeria will not get the expected result, because of the fact that there is lack of discipline amongst those people who are in the leadership, and there is no positive constructive leadership that makes things work even the way it ought to work in the lives of people in Nigeria. It does not mean that we do not have great people in Nigeria.
Oh, we have them. But sir, when in an election, this is the person the people choose to vote. Now a professor will now, in all of his years till he rose to become a professor, all he chooses to do is to rig. Now the student in the school will go and do malpractices. You say you want to punish him. How will it work now?
Well, that is still,
how will it work?
Still boils down to the leadership I mentioned. Leadership. We pray that our people will get to do something better.
But what kind of prayers are you thinking about?
No, it's not really that. I mean that kind of prayer now.
Okay.
He's not going for a prayer meeting, but I mean, we hope. Then we're talking about hope. Then again, you notice that in our country today, there is truly, just as the topic of our program today says, there is the adverse effect of these things on businesses.
Yes.
Many businesses are closing down. Many others are, letting things be. The ones that are working are looking for corners to cut so as to get sustained or to stay alive. May there be need for the people in authority to check these things and take solutions from what we have submitted here, both from you, Enemali, Gabriel, and from John Gia, because the energy aspect, because it will help a whole lot in seeing that things are put in order the perfect way. Well, that is how time really flies, and we need to conclude and run. I want to thank you so much for coming again.
Thank you so much.
I say again, you will still return.
Anytime.
Anytime
I'm invited, I'll be
Please,
here.
we will still return.
Thank you so much.
Well, I believe that your economic antenna must have been well positioned for maximum profit. Do make out time to do good business with us again on the program, The Economy Today. Okechukwu Onubogu here saying, on behalf of all that has worked to make sure that the best comes to you, and saying special thanks again to Enemali here, I say, God bless you and keep staying strong until we meet again on this same program. Bye for now.